Hey physics class, how's it going? We got part 2 of the helpful videos, which is going to help with the back side of that inclined plane worksheet. Basically what we're adding to the actual inclined plane, like the front side, the back side is where we're adding a force applied. So what I mean by that is, so in the first step, I'm going to step away, one second. Okay. And I'm back. In the first set of questions, we had just one block on a board, and either friction would win and it wouldn't move, or our force parallel, the force that gravity was giving in the direction down the board, that force parallel would be winning and it would move. So that was the front side. Back side, a little more complicated. So we're going to do an understanding video here. So no numbers, just trying to understand what's happening here. So we have an object still on a board, and let's say I get it here, it would start moving. But all of a sudden there's going to be a force applied, which is me. Okay? And there are 3 different scenarios in this actual thing. Either it can be going down the board, where force parallel is winning against me and friction. So there's 3 things that we're going to have to incorporate here. And that's a big thing. When we're doing our net force for the back side, there's going to be 3 things that we're looking at. Force parallel, same as the other side. Force of friction, same as the other side. And the way that you find those 2 things don't change at all. Your force normal does not change at all in this scenario either. I know it kind of looks different, like where there's an angle because I'm on here, but what I'm doing here changes nothing about force normal, okay? We're going to say that the string is at the exact same angle as the board. So that way there's no force normal changing whatsoever. Alright, so the way that you find force parallel, same. The way that you find force normal and force friction, exactly the same. But we're adding in a force applied. So what are the 3 things that we need to actually look at when we're looking at a force applied? Well, there's me pulling, there's the force parallel pulling down, and then friction is going to be added there as well. And the easy way I shouldn't say the easy way, the way that students usually think about force friction, well, it's always going down as well because you're pulling up. Let's be careful here. What exactly is friction again? Friction is going to slow down movement. It's always going to be going in the opposite direction of movement. So if you're sliding down a hill, friction is going to be slowing you down. If someone's trying to pull you up a hill, friction is going to be slowing you down that way as well. Whatever direction you're going, friction is going to be the other way. So let's try and think about the 3 scenarios that we could have in this problem. Let's go scenario 1. The block's going to be going down the actual ramp. So in this scenario, block's going down the ramp. Force parallel is winning against 2 things. First against me, the force applied, and it's winning against force friction. That's how the block goes down the actual ramp. And hopefully that kind of makes sense. How do I win? How do I get to pull this up? So let's say, again, how do I get this thing to move up? Well, yikes, fell off. All right, very good. Still, how do I win? How do I get to pull it up like I just showed? Well, the force applied is bigger than 2 things. It's bigger than the force parallel going down. As well, it's bigger than force of friction. So if the force applied is bigger than those 2 things, it's going to move up. What happens come on, block, be nice. All right, block's going down, and I'm going to stop it. Stop right there. There's no movement. There's a force applied. I'm pulling it. I really am. Not very strong, but I'm still pulling it. But it's not moving. So what's happening when the block's not moving? And I'll try and put some numbers to this, that way it makes it seem a little easier. Basically, friction is bigger than the difference between force applied and force parallel. So let's say I am pulling with 10 newtons. I'm pulling with 10 newtons. And let's say force parallel is 8 newtons. Okay, so I have 10 going up, force parallel is 8 going down, so I'm winning by 2. Let's say the force of friction is 4. If the force of friction is 4, going down, because again it's stopping me. If I'm technically winning against force parallel, force applied is 10, force parallel 8. If I'm winning, force friction is going to be going in the opposite direction. So I'm 10, force applied is 10, force parallel is 8. I'm winning by 2. But if force friction is 4, or basically anything bigger than 2, it's going to be bigger than how much the difference between those two is. So basically that's when we get a stopped block, where yes, I'm pulling, and probably more than force parallel is what I'm pulling right now, but unfortunately the force of friction is too big, and so that's why we have a no movement. So those are kind of our three scenarios. I'm going to do two really, really good questions on the board in the next video. So the next video might be a little longer, but I wanted to show you the three scenarios that we have now there's a force applied, because either force parallel is winning against the other two, force applied is winning and the block's going up against the other two, and if there's no movement, it just means that force of friction is bigger than the difference between those two. Okay, so it doesn't mean force of friction is bigger than both of them, but let's say if we have, again, those two and it makes a difference, friction is bigger than the difference of those two, and that's when you get a no movement. Okay, hopefully this helps. I'm going to do another video showing two questions just very similar to the back side. I'll do one exactly like the back side, and then I'll probably do one a little different. That way you at least get to try it. As well, the answer key will be up today for this whole little incline plane worksheet. All right, thanks class. Have a good day.